going on. IG Live would not allow us to be great sometime. You know what I'm saying? It just won't. So we were actually on with the founder of BlerdCon earlier. We started having audio issues because Instagram, I don't know. Instagram is Instagram and whatever that means. So we back. We'll get our guests back on. If you have any questions for the founder of BlerdCon, make sure you put them in the chat and we're going to try to get those questions. They're saying BlerdCon is unable to join. I don't know what Instagram. Your Instagram be on days. Like, for real. Instagram is stupid.
Yeah.
What up, G?
What's up, man? Listen, a lot of gems is being dropped on us right now in this interview, and I'm liking it, man. So
Absolutely.
it's peace, man. I mean, just having a place where blurs can come together over the past 5-6 years now. That's big time, man, because we never had it before, and now we got it. Oh, you back.
We back in there.
And we're not echoing.
There we go.
See?
But
There we go.
just circling back to the question for anybody who's just jumping back in, the question was about the community, and I was answering that the community has found its equilibrium. The idea for me was to create a space for the community to make its own connections, its own experiences, and then be able to generate those connections in spaces that aren't defined for us. So if you could come to BlerdCon as a black person in Ames, Iowa, who has never seen more than 5 black cosplayers in a room together, and connect and realize that you do have a tribe, within the geek space, and then you turn around and you go to another convention and you see other blerds, you feel comfortable connecting, and you start to see that, and you talk about things that I'm proud of or things that I don't want to say credit, but is that I see more of us getting together and spending time and connecting in non-blurred spaces than before BlerdCon. And I will see people that I know who came together at BlerdCon perhaps for the first time. Who you see more photo shoots, you're seeing, more panel submissions, you're seeing more cosplayers submit their names to be guests, and that's a two-way street. Now you're seeing non-blurred conventions that are realizing that they can have, black representation, diversity representation in general, and not alienate their general majority fan base, right? And they've seen it happen at BlerdCon. They come to BlerdCon and they see, like, will that work? Can you have 150 panels and workshops hosted by black people? A lot of these panels are talking about black issues, and have this, be a positive thing that doesn't alienate anybody but brings everyone together, because a lot of these cons already have strong black participation anyway. You name it, MomoCon, DragonCon, New York Comic Con, Anime NYC, there's black people in all of these spaces, and we're not saying, hey, you guys, you need to attract more black people. We're just saying, hey, service and recognize the blerds that are already in your fan base, already showing up to your cons, and BlerdCon is already doing it, And so when you see more black mess in the program and on the guest list, you see more black cosplayers, you see more black, cosplay gatherings and, meetups and stuff like that. I think there's a BlerdCon effect behind some of that, that, if there's anything that gives me pride as far as the community, is that.
Yeah. So, to kind of piggyback off of that, can you give us the highlight of each year of BlerdCon?
Oof. Year one, we didn't crash and burn. I mean, year one con, you have no idea what's going to happen. Right. There's no track record. There's no template. And we had a feedback panel, because it's a smaller convention, you can do that, because you don't have to do a big survey, because everybody can fit in one room and can tell you, what they liked or what they didn't like. Everybody who got up to the mic, in our year one was saying, so this is my first BlerdCon. And we're like, ours too. And they're like, this is the first year convention? What? No way, And I'm like, what do normal first year conventions look like that everyone is so shocked that this is a first year con? I mean, it didn't go perfectly, but I was like, what potholes are all the other conventions hitting that are so recognizable to first year cons that we managed to avoid. So getting through year one was huge. That was, I mean, 2 years of work, so much, fighting and clawing and everything, just trying to make it happen. Just a huge thing. Year two, we did reunion was the theme. And this was after, Black Panther came out in February of 2018. And so, no. It was Civil War introduced Black Panther. So we was getting real black in general. And so we had expected 600-ish people for year one. We got 1,800. We didn't know what to expect for year two, but we ended up doubling the 1,800 and ended up with 3,600 for year two. Year two, we had, it was really, really awesome. We had Dora Milaje were there. We had 4 of them. We had Karen Ashley. The guest list was great. People had a great time. We also stepped up, our sound and light. We grew every year. We've grown every year as far as we go, from year to year. So our guest list was a huge thing in year two. Year three, we had Rachel True, was huge. We had Estelle. We had a Grammy winner. So the response from the industry and the guests who go and do cons was evident. Like they were like, oh, I really want to come to this. I really want to participate in this. And so 2019 was a huge year. Not for nothing, but there's this videographer for 2018 and 2019 named Micah Moore, who's just a gadfly who used to go to cons and he would, make these CMVs that just blew everybody's socks off. And he came to BlerdCon 2018. And then his CMV was like, really put us on the map. He came back 2019, did another one. And it was just through the roof. Now, of course, we had COVID the next year. I'm really proud of the fact that we came back and we were first to come back. Mm-hmm. We do so much new stuff. There's a lot of ways that we could really just have set a template and say, okay, we're only going to do a black version of what every other con does, and we're going to leave it at that, right? But we don't do that. At least I don't do that. And we're always trying something new. We're always pushing the envelope. And sometimes that's comfortable. Sometimes that's not. Sometimes it's hard to accept. Sometimes it's not. But every year we've grown in. We did the barbecue in 2018 that turned into the food truck rally in 2019. We brought in the barbershop in 2019. We try to put the black experience and superimpose it over the geek space. And new ways of doing that from year to year always astonishes me, because how black can you make a convention without seeming sarcastic, right? Remember before Barack Obama, we talk about a black president, and it was always this lampoon. You saw Head of State with Chris Rock, every skit from, Eddie Murphy to Chris Tucker about the black president was about barbecuing in the yard and all this stuff. And then when it happened, it was like, oh, okay. It's not anything like we ever imagined it would be. So we had to be careful of that. We say, I had reservations about doing the spades competition. Like a spades tournament, I'm like, ooh, are we pushing too far? Are black people not going to take us serious if we start doing stuff like spades tournaments and stuff like this? But then we did the spades tournament. So like every year we would introduce some new dimension of blackness, and everybody ate it up. So I'm really, really proud about that, because those are the things that took the most risk and took the most work. Everybody likes their favorite DJ. Everybody likes, this or that guest. We don't pick them if people don't like them. But you start throwing stuff out there in your features that are, nobody can take responsibility but you as the con runner. And so like, oh, you up here being sarcastic. You doing a spades tournament. Oh, you trying to make fun of black people. And next you go have watermelon, fights and all kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the fact that we always manage to stay right up there with that cusp from year to year was a big thing. This year, though, I'm the most proud of the guests that we were able to book. Getting Cree Summer.
Oh, shout out to Cree. Love Cree Summer.
We've been trying to get Cree for like 6 years, and she hadn't done a con in like 7 or 8. And So when her agent called after all these years, he's like, "Hey, you still want Grease?" I was like,
Uh,
"Yes,
Hell
let's,
yeah.
let's
Bring it
do
over.
it."
Yeah.
You asking
yes,
me that,
mama.
Right.
you know. My team recovered, after tragic losses, two of them. We lost Hassan in October, of 2022. But then we turned around this past spring and we lost Olivia from our team to cancer. So we lost two
Damn.
members of our team in the same calendar year, and they died. Like, what the hell is going on, right? And then we turn around, having to redo so many processes. When somebody in your core infrastructure goes away, the infrastructure has to collapse around them. You got to redo this, rethink it, rewire it, slow it up. And for all these new processes, all these new people, all these new protocols, we had pretty much a flawless convention this year, which really stunned me because it was our biggest attendance and our biggest, we did the most that we had ever done in a con. So I'm really, really, really proud of that and my team for being able to pull it up and kind of really, really make it happen for this year. Because Lord knows, man, I don't know of any con that lost two people in the same year well, I just never heard of that happening, and it happened to us, and we had a great year, despite it, or maybe even because of it, because we really wanted to show that we could represent them and their work and their contribution. So, yeah, I think each year was everything about doing Black stuff, but this year, my team, being resilient was really it.
That's dope. That's dope.
Cool.
We got a comment from Miss Bernice. She asks, "Does BlerdCon host any workshops for children?"
Oh, absolutely. As a matter of fact, we actually we actually had a kids cosplay contest this year for the first time. There's this young lady by the name of Violet Verse. If you follow cosplayers, look that up. She is 10, 9. She's young, really young, and is just this amazing cosplayer. Family is amazing, and they kind of engineered, this frontline kids cosplay contest, and it really got the kids involved. I'm a huge proponent of creating, runways for young blerds coming up, right? And so even with the guests that we booked this year, like we booked Kevon Woodard from The Last of Us, and he was episode 3, played Sam.
Okay.
Kevon's 10 years old. He's 10, and he was a guest, and we had to figure out, okay, a 10-year-old's not going to sit at a table signing autographs for 7 hours. He's 10. We got to do his hours right. We got to do his panels and his interviews in such a way that he's not jumping out of his skin because he's 10, right? And he's also, deaf. And we, had to step up our services as far as sign language interpreting and things like that. So he had a set of panels and workshops. We had some of our media guests who have kids that do kids versions of their media podcasts and stuff. And some of the panels and workshops, high schoolers. I mentor a group at Bowie State called New Blerd Order. And they do panels, so these are college students coming together, talking to other people about, hey, you're in college. If you don't have a group, establish a group. If there is a group, support the group. This is what you can do to build community for your Black nerddom back at your campus. All of this is super important, because right now, most people don't go to cons before they're 24 because it's so expensive. It's so prohibitive. And you know why that is? Parents don't understand. I hate to use the Will Smith, line, but it costs money. Kids don't have transportation. They may not have permission because their parents don't get it. Like, some parents think Dungeons and Dragons and role-playing games are the devil, or cosplay will make you gay, or, I've heard it all. So, this is stuff for the kids, but it's also for the family. So, yes, that is something that we're always building out on. It's hard because, if I ask for a call for panels, I get 500 panel submissions from adults. But when I have to actually go and curate most of my kids' content, like I have to tell a child, like,
Right.
You have something to say. You can do, all I do is Legos. Fine, we'll do a Lego panel. Legos are awesome. Everybody loves Legos. Bring some Legos. We're going to do this thing. And you got to really, really cultivate it and bring it up. But it's really worth it because if not for the kids, what are we doing here? Right?
Right.
Children are the future. They're a blessing. They're, hey, I want
So they live with you.
I want to switch gears a little bit, man. Let's play a game of Geek Salad, this or that. Real simple game. Give you two options. You say, I want this, or you choose the other one, right? Nothing too crazy. Nothing controversial, all right? All
Oh
right, so
Lord, it
first one.
sounds like it's gonna be both of those.
No, nothing. Small. Rosa Parks or Harriet Tubman? Which one you got? Go.
Oh, it's got to be
Come on,
Harriet
man.
Tubman.
Come on, man.
Got to be Harriet Tubman. It's got to
Come
be
on,
Harriet Tubman.
Yeah.
Come on now. Y'all know the story.
Nah,
of
bro.
Harriet
Like
Tubman?
we would never. You gotta choose both of them. Like how can you choose one of them? You gotta have both.
Listen,
You know what I'm saying? You
this
got to have
sister
both.
was not. She was not just going back and forth through the Underground Railroad,
Right.
freeing slaves. She was a spy during the Civil War.
That's it.
Like she
Yep.
was a
He was
freaking.
lit.
She even had a rank. I think she was like a colonel or something. She had like a rank in the army and everything.
Official.
And it's like we don't even we don't ever talk about that. History will tell you that she made like 1-2 trips and saved some people. Yay, Rosa. Like nah, Rosa Parks Harriet Tubman
Harriet Tubman. Yeah.
was man. She was
that
hardcore
deal.
gangster.
She was
Listen,
that deal. They're trying to
yes,
say that
and
slavery had benefits now. That made me so mad.
Right, man.
So mad. Like
Right.
we are in a world where the majority of people in power, who just so happen to be white, are trying to sugarcoat
Mhm.
and build a coalition around putting people to sleep. The most intellectually and societally lazy people gravitate to this path of least resistance. Like, oh wait, I don't have to have any guilt for what my ancestors did or take any accountability for the privileges I enjoy because of the things that they did. This is great. I'll believe that. And there's a political party that's actually trying to make that part of their platform. And none of this helps us. Like, none of this is helping to solve any of the problems that anyone has day to day that we want government to solve. Is have demonizing and creating these divisions that produce nothing. So yeah, man, it's crazy out here. Like, we have to get out there and tell people because, if we're not going to tell the story, no one's going to do it for us. Right.
Exactly. Yep.
So yeah, man.
Hilton, I appreciate you, man, because that was a joke, this or that, but you gave such an eloquent answer to it. Yo, this is why BlerdCon is in good hands, man. This right here, I like that, man. So the first real one is Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings. What you going with?
Lord of the Rings, man. Lord of the Rings.
Thank you.
Come
Thank
on.
you, bro.
Lord
Thank
of
you.
the Rings. I call it Lord of the
Thank you.
Rings.
All day.
Tolkien did something that oh gosh, what's her name? Help me out. The author for Harry Potter. It's right in front of me.
I can't think of her name.
J.K. Rowling. Thank you. Right.
There you go.
He did an amazing job of world building, and I'm a huge fan of world building. And Harry Potter's world definitely intricate, but it does not, it pales in comparison to the world built around the Lord of the Rings, to the point where even the ancillary books that are just there to fill out the gaps are classic. The Silmarillion is more of a classic as an addendum to the original trilogy than most books are standing alone. And it has become the template for a lot of these stories and the scope of the storytelling that you see in Star Wars and even Star Trek now that it's, after it was a TV show and, in the 60s, and you see it with, the way they're looking at the MCU, like how do you literally map out the MC universe? Like, where are the 9 realms? Like we have to show people where they are because that's part of the story, right? If it's super close, if Asgard is on the other side of the moon, it's not going to be that impressive going back and forth to it, right? And so all of the ways in which we tell stories now have been influenced in a way with Lord of the Rings that you don't see in Harry Potter. And the movies, I wasn't a huge fan of in one way, that I could go to watch Lord of the Rings, and if I never read any of the books from Tolkien, I still had a movie to enjoy. and there wasn't a whole lot of separation from the filmmakers to say, okay, we're just talking to the people that read the book right now. Y'all sit down and be quiet. If you saw the Harry Potter movies with somebody who read the books, you understand my annoyance and irritation. Because they were watching a whole different movie than us. They was like, oh, look, it's so-and-so. It was just in frame for 0.2 seconds. You know, there's a long story with them, and I'm sitting there like, you know what? I need y'all to shut up. So I put Tolkien out there ahead of most things, especially.
Absolutely, man. Lord of the Rings all day. Marvel or DC? What you going with?
Ooh, man, why you gonna do me like that? I thought you said this was gonna be easy. Okay, so I'll make a distinction so I don't end up getting my house burned down.
Nice.
Choose your words carefully.
DC, let's just talk about the entertainment universes right now. And I think everybody will agree with this. I will burn no bridges by saying this. DC has done an amazing job with its animated storytelling. I mean, it's just, oh my God, like just watching how they developed and bring these characters to life in the short stories that they're telling with Constantine and you know, the Demon and, you know, Swamp Thing.
Right.
And I mean, just, oh my God, even Darkseid. They've like 5 different iterations of Darkseid in these movies, but we're still like, oh, we love it, right? Whereas Marvel has done much better with the cinematic universe and live action because they've taken the longer arc of storytelling. At a time, remember when Disney bought all these major properties, we were all nervous because we're like, oh no, corporate is getting a hold of my favorite stories. And I was like, well, let's see what they do. You know, they're going to sit in a room and they're going to map out the next 11 years and 25 movies. And it starts at Iron Man and ends in, you know, the snap and Endgame, which is an arc of storytelling unseen in human history. But I say for the comics, though, I have to give it to DC, and here's why.
Okay.
Because God's trying to be men is so much more of a compelling perspective, and that is where DC lives. DC was more adult. They told, I mean, their horror stories were just amazing. I mean, the way, like, you know, the story arcs with Swamp Thing is some of the best horror storytelling that you'll find, you know, on any page anywhere. You know, the way in which they created the scope and scale of the magic world of gods and men was just, you know, just top notch. And it was just so fascinating, you know, to watch, you know, the storyline behind Shazam. Like Shazam's comic book story is as rich as any Egyptian fable or any, you know, of the tablets of Gilgamesh. Like it's just amazing storyline that never made it to the screen. I'm just like, tell the story. They like won't tell the story, you know. So I have to give it to them because they did some stuff that no comic label has done before or since, and it's just being that dark and really having the balls to tell these really scary, dark stories. Marvel was telling human stories, you know, humans trying to be gods or having to deal with godlike powers and fit into society and still be men. And I think one gave us more insight into who we are than the other. And I think people can identify with Marvel because the characters kind of, all the Marvel heroes started, you know, walking around like normal people, right? Mm-hmm. Even the mutants who had the X gene were normal until they hit like puberty and got upset, and then their powers manifested. Like, oh my God, I got to deal with this new power. Spider-Man was Peter Parker. He got bit by the radioactive spider, and he's walking around, and all of a sudden, oh, I got to deal with these powers. Whereas DC is like, yeah, you know, the Spectre is the universe's expression of vengeance. Deal with it. We're going to plop him in the middle of World War II and let him just go just swiping entire, you know, higher, you know, swaths of people. So, yeah, I got to give it to DC on that front. And I think both of the entertainment universes could learn a little something from one another because, yeah, it's...
Yo, that was the most eloquent and intricate riding of the fence I've ever seen, but I appreciate it. Look, I can appreciate it, man. That's it. I see. Like that was some wizardry, man. That was some Constantine level sorcery you did, but I rock with it though. You're
The
gonna have to
comment
choose
from
one or the other. Go ahead. What happened?
you see the comment from the business bully.
What is that?
Marvel changed comics and comic book storytelling forever. DC didn't start making three-dimensional stories until Jack Kirby left Marvel and went to DC.
I agree
Okay.
100%.
Yeah.
Jack Kirby coming in and creating the New Gods
Yes, sir.
was a turning point for
Yes, sir.
DC Comics, because Jack Kirby was coming in with the DC model. I mean the Marvel model. But the thing about Jack Kirby is that he was the guy at Marvel who did more with these superpowered beings. I mean, you're talking about Galactus, Silver Surfer, Eternals, you know, Asgardians, the Greek Parthenon, you know. He loved that stuff. Like, he loved telling these stories about these overpowered characters that are just rocking each other's worlds. So once he got to DC and was the head honcho of those stories, man, he did amazing stuff. So I definitely agree 100% on that. I just wish he had lived longer and had more of a free hand when he went to DC, because he didn't have, like, I'm the number 2 guy or the shared number 1 spot with Stan Lee. You know, he was kind of in the bullpen, and he had a little bit of rope, but he had as much as he deserved.
Do you think James Gunn has a good reign on the new DCEU?
I'm going to say yes, he has a good reign, and I think he's going to do something awesome. Well, he's going to do something effective. I don't know how it's going to be received, because we some finicky motherfuckers, man, and we like what we don't like, and we don't like what we like, and we don't know what, you know, we so conflicted about DCEU that, you know, we just ready to, if anything, you know how it is, you could put out a movie, and anything that's even a little bit wrong with it disqualifies it if you're not happy with the franchise. Whereas in Marvel, because there are so many world-building stories in there, we will allow for a bad movie if it creates a bridge between 2 good ones.
Right.
You know,
Right.
Quantumania got ripped by the critics, and rightly so. There was a lot of things missing from that movie, but because it introduced Kang in the best possible way, you didn't hear nothing about, oh, they shouldn't have done it. Like, we had to have that movie, or you're not going to understand who Kang the Conqueror is, right? So I think James Gunn, if you think about what he did with Suicide Squad 2, if you think about what he's done with Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and then Guardians of the Galaxy 1, I like the way he builds characters. Now, what I worry about is that, once again, DC is hitting the reset in his entertainment universe. And it's like, are they going to start from scratch? Are we going to have to recap all of these characters? You know, are they going to try and build a world, you know, that gradually builds outward and fills in all these gaps before they do the big blockbuster? Are they going to give us 5-10 movies before their version of Avengers? Or are they going to be swinging for home runs every movie, which is what they have been doing up to this point, and that's why they fail? I don't think he's going to do that, but I think he's going to do some stuff that's so unorthodox that fans might be a little, like, taken back. They might enjoy the movie, but not like what he's doing with the properties. Because he's James Gunn, and he's not here to, you know.
Yeah, I think he's gonna do a decent job, man. Just because, like, that whole DC ship needed somebody else at the helm. It was kind of crazy. But on another note, we got 2 more: Prince or Michael Jackson.
Prince.
Prince.
I gotta give it to Prince.
Oh, okay. Over Mike. Okay.
I know. Look. Half the people that logged off. They threw their phone. Come back, people. Come back. Okay. And here's why. Everybody, and when I say everybody, I mean everybody, from country music to R&B, rock, even some aspects of hip hop, was all vibing off Prince. They was trying to look like him, dance like him, write like him, sing like him. This man had grown ass men running around with cravats and makeup on,
and
speaking
blouses.
in high tone voices and blouses, pulling women. Right.
Ridiculous.
Like he took the hardness out of everything and let brothers just explore their feminine side. And women loved it. And I mean, no, I'm serious though. Look back at R&B, look back at rock, look back at, all the people, how they were dancing, how they were performing, how the instrumentals were being played, how the songs were being written. I mean, there was like a 5 to 15 year period where everybody was trying to look like Prince. Everybody's hair was like Prince's, everybody's makeup, everybody was trying to get a song from him, everybody was being eclectic, everybody was trying to be sexy. This man took my girl, not Sheila E. I can't remember.
Vanity?
No, the white girl.
Uh,
She was doing country music. I'm looking right at it. Oh my gosh! But it turned her into a sex kid because she did Sugar Walls and You Got the Look. We're sitting there like, hold up, that's the. She was just on American
was a
Man.
bad
Sheena
man.
Easton. Thank you,
There
Sheena
you go.
Easton.
Sheena.
Mrs. Bully. This man turned Sheena Easton into a sex kid. Effectively so. Like we was like, oh, Sheena Easton. How you doing? She
I didn't know you
started
had
off
that in
singing,
you.
my baby takes the morning train.
Okay.
That was her song.
Okay.
Now she doing Sugar Walls. You know what that song is about? That's Prince. The Prince effect. The Prince effect was so widespread, and it's still out there to this day. Like we still singing Prince songs. Like there's so many covers of Prince songs out there, and artists that got off, on Prince's, writing that we don't even know. We don't have time enough in the show to do all the lists. Whereas Michael Jackson was a nuclear explosion. He affected everything around him so completely and so totally, dominated everything he did so completely and so totally that I don't think anyone really took a serious stab at trying to be the next Michael Jackson. Everybody was thinking they could do. Everybody was trying to.
They was trying.
I don't even know who we could name though. Was it that brother from Five Star? He looked like Michael, and he got some chips from that back in the 80s.
Yeah.
Like who? Stoney Jackson didn't even cut an album. He was just in the background of everybody else's stuff. Yeah, Stoney Jackson. Google him. You'll know him right. No, there was no, other than the other brothers who was all trying to be little versions of Michael, there was nobody like riding in his wake. It was Michael Jackson was the nuclear bomb that just blew up every Grammy award show and every music video, and he was making all this stuff, and he was self-contained. As big and as amazing as he was him. Whereas Prince, like I said, he had, he was writing he had the time, he had Jesse Johnson, Brown Mark. It was so many people that just, he was that were just like his children almost, So I have to say Prince. I got to give it a Prince. I saw Prince live before he died. I saw him at the Essence Festival. That brother was like 57 years old, doing splits and jumping around. He had 2 hip replacements, and he was jumping around like a flea on a hot brick, man. I was like, yo, this dude. And I never sat down. I don't know what the seats in the arena feel like. I was standing up the whole time.
Y'all remember?
And Prince got a mean crossover on top of all that. He would get your ankles.
Come on, fam.
Ankle collector.
His brother played Jay or JJ in What's Happening.
Oh, really? Never knew that.
That's his brother.
Huh.
Brother come in talking about, hey.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Brother.
You said What's Happening? I'm thinking of Good Times. You said JJ.
No, not that
The
JJ.
boy with the neat afro. They were brothers?
Yeah.
I didn't know they were brothers.
That was his brother.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And also, before we go on to the last question, y'all remember this man played Purple Rain at Super Bowl. And what happened? God heard his voice and made it rain during Purple Rain. That's it.
That's it.
I'm telling you.
That's crazy. Real quick, 2 more real quick. Wu-Tang or Tribe Called Quest?
Wu-Tang. Come on.
Gotta be the Wu. Gotta be the Wu.
Gotta be Wu-Tang.
Gotta be the Wu.
I love Tribe.
Wu-Tang.
I love Tribe, and here's why. Because here's the crazy thing. I answered the way I answer. I'm a bigger fan of Tribe than I am of Wu-Tang. That's how objective I am. Wu-Tang changed hip-hop totally and immediately when they emerged. There was a level of dopeness and coordination with, I mean, Method Man aside, because he kind of stood a little bit above and out front for maybe because Method Man, METHOD Man came out kind of first or whatever, and he was the front man. But that was not because he was the best rapper. Like, everybody, you know, Cormega, you know, Raekwon, you know, RZA, Jizza's producing just the sounds that they brought into music we had never heard before. Oh, we had heard before because I'm an old Chop House fan from the Shaw Brothers movies, and I'm sitting there like, hold on, that's from the Five Deadly Venoms? These sons of bitches, they done put my song on. Like, they were doing so many new and amazing things, and there was like 150 of them. There was really, they were not like
there
this
was a whole
concise
army.
There was literally an army. Whereas Tribe came in kind of on the wave of this hippie age of hip hop that was happening regardless of them. Like, it was already happening, you know, with these other artists. And, you know, you had this one producer that kind of spearheaded him was Prince Paul. Came in and just produced like he was using all these eclectic sounds and stuff. Then Jay Dilla comes in, and, you know, he's working with Ali Shaheed Muhammad. You know, and they just make this new type of beat making. So I got to give them credit for that, but it was an improvement on a predicate that was already emerging from hip hop. And so you had De La Soul coming out, and you had, you know, the back end of a lot of artists who kind of went hippie, you know, and then maybe like Fushnikins, like, you know, there was this explosion that was already happening on that end of
the incense rappers. I call it the rise of the incense rappers.
That's a good term. I like that.
You burn some sage
right.
in
Shirt
here.
ain't really ironed. You know, you're not wearing nothing costs more than $40. You know that. You know, but then Wu-Tang, like I said, ain't nobody asked for that. Nobody.
I like that. Nobody asked for Wu-Tang.
This is Long Island, man. Nobody was fucking with Long Island. Nobody was screaming on Long Island. Nobody was threatening Long Island. Nobody was like, and then out of nowhere, 15 brothers show up on an album cover just chopping, protect your neck, mystery of chest box, and people just like, oh, you know, and it just what they did, like I said, man, I've seen them live, and like I said, there are no weak links in Wu-Tang.
Exactly.
There are none. There are none. To this day. Like, Wu-Tang could come back today and sell out Capital One Arena.
Oh,
listen,
absolutely.
Wu-Tang
with like a week notice. Like, Eventbrite.
Yeah. Listen, Wu-Tang is responsible for two iconic things. Cream being the best acronym of all time.
Oh, wait a minute.
Around me.
Wait a minute.
Come on.
Hold on. Hold on. Push your T.
What else?
Hold on. Push your T. Shout out Pusha T in Virginia. Sorry, nigga. I'm trying to come home. Snitch. I don't know, bro. It ain't. Look, it's not as popular as Cream. But just as an acronym, snitch. Sorry, nigga. I'm trying to come home.
I don't even know if that. All right. Here's the test. Which one's on the shirt?
Oh,
thank you.
It's definitely gonna be Cream. Cream is more iconic. I'm not even gonna say it. That's definitely more iconic.
Right.
They
but
like
don't
I
be
said, nobody asked.
Nobody
asked for that. Like, it was just somebody that it came in with a grudge, man. They was like, man, fuck hip hop. We about to like,
we about to incorporate old kung fu movies and Marvel characters and everything. Just put it all together. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. And also, too, the other iconic is the symbol, the actual Wu-Tang symbol.
Oh yeah, the W.
Come on now. Besides
the
actual Def Jam logo, I think the Wu-Tang symbol is probably up there as one of the most iconic symbols ever.
You drew it on one of the desks in high school. Everybody did. You at least once. Just on the desk in high school, drawing Wu W's. Because why? Because it's what you do when you're in high school.
Graffiti.
In the 90s.
And it was cool to rock it, even if, like, you know, like, you couldn't really rock somebody's logo unless you felt like you had something to do with it. Like, are you from there? Are you, like, do you know somebody in the group? Like, you know, you wouldn't, like, rock Like you're talking about Tribe, like, you had an album cover.
Mm-hmm.
You might, write their name on something, but you weren't like wearing their stuff like you're a member of the Wu. If you wear the Wu, you like, I'm with the Wu. Like you felt like you was part of the clan,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's. I remember when it came out. Like I said, man, I had never heard anything like it before, and I don't know if there'll ever be another group like it. But like I said, they all of them had so much talent, man. And most of these big groups that came out, it was like 2-3 talented brothers. I mean, the Saint Lunatics. Nelly came out, and then Murphy Lee did a little something, and then they kind of faded off.
Yeah.
But anybody who got a deal, anybody who could cut an album from Wu-Tang was selling. ODB was on crack from jump. It wasn't like he was okay, then slowly got on crack, and then it's not the same story. He was always on crack and was dope all the way through. We didn't understand nothing he was talking about, but his style was so iconic. Right? We're like, I don't know what he's talking about, but this is just amazing, and so yeah, man, yeah, that's I gotta stick with it. I gotta stick with that answer.
Yo, shout out to the Wu. Otaka Noir said, at least you didn't say WAP. Talking about the hip hop acronyms. Yeah, WAP. No. We don't. That's no.
No, I don't.
Nah, we don't mention that.
No.
All right, one more, and we'll let you get out of here. This is gonna be more controversial than the Harriet Tubman Rosa Parks one. But one more this or that. You gotta choose one, right? Black Panther or Blade?
Yeah, I love this question right here. I love this question.
The movie or just the character as per the comics?
This overall movies, comic books, the characters overall. What you taking? You can only take one.
Think about it.
Let me get my thinking juice here. Hold on.
The brother's parched. It's a little parched.
Okay. I'm gonna see Wesley Snipes next year at San Diego Comic-Con. He gonna drop kick me in the sternum. But I gotta say Black Panther. I gotta say Black Panther.
Okay.
Here's why. Okay, and I'm gonna say both sides of the story. So Black Panther was a B character in Civil War, and he got introduced so cold and so hard
He did.
that that's the only thing we saw. Half of us went to see that movie because Black Panther was in it. We started making memes when we heard they were making a Black Panther movie. We ain't seen nothing about the movie. We don't know who's in it, what it's about. Black Panther's so black, all those hashtags that went out. People was lined up in their dashikis, and it looked like the wedding scene in the opening of Coming to America. At every theater in America when Black Panther came out, I ain't never seen us this black since we got off the boat. And I mean, it captured the imagination of so many people. And what I loved about it was the effect on young people. We always talk as blerds about representation. And, you could cite this character and that character. Oh, what about Blue Marvel? Oh, ain't nobody heard about Mr. Terrific. Oh, what about Icon? And kids be like, who? What? What are you talking about? Black Panther had white people dressed up like Black Panther at Halloween.
Yeah.
I went to cons in North Carolina, in rural North Carolina, with a white dad walking with 2 6- and 7-year-olds dressed as Black Panther, and dad's like, this is the only person they want to dress like. It's their favorite character. I'm like, wow. Like, that total permeance of something that happened, even before the movie came out. Then on top of that, the movie was so perfect. Mm-hmm. I was ready to stand for this movie so hard, and I told my people, I said, look, we gonna stand for Black Panther, because if Black Panther don't happen, or if it doesn't work out, or if it doesn't make money, there'll never be another black movie. We'd be on freaking the UPN and WB. They'll tell all our stories and stuff after that. But no, when we had Black Panther come out, I said I could sit in that theater and the screen could go black, and I could sit in there for 2 hours in total silence and darkness. When I come out, I'm be like, oh, it was beautiful. Oh, it was an amazing movie. I was ready to stand for this movie. It had to win, but it didn't make me do the work. It was so amazing in every way. Now, go to Blade. Everyone's probably heard some of the stories. If you haven't heard, I'll tell you. Blade saved the Marvel Universe. It saved Marvel because they had so many fits and starts and terrible, terrible movies that had no world building before them, during, or after, just, trying to make these superhero movies work. And Blade came in, and it was so dope, people forgot to even make note of the fact that, one, it was a comic book movie. Two, that it was a black character from a comic book that got a movie. And the storyline did not center around his blackness at all. Like, there was absolutely nothing about Blade as portrayed on the screen that was like, had any indication about his black storyline. But people recognized his blackness just the same, because he acted and he carried himself in such a way that we knew it was us. Because he could have played it straight. He could have just been, I'm Blade, but no, he was like, I'm gonna have that blaxploitation swagger. Wesley Snipes got it in his contract that he got a sex scene in every movie. And even though he didn't have a
gotta show the abs. That scene where he's biting
Tushunde, I can't remember the name, but when he's biting her at the end of the movie, yes, that was a sex scene. Like, period, point blank. Cover your kid's eyes. That's what that was. And
I remember seeing it in the movies when I was like 14, and seeing that part and just taking notes. This is a young Arye with no experience. I'm like, you know what? They like when you bite their neck. Notice.
See. Now you're going to counseling. They trying to figure out what's going on with this child.
That's why I got all these kids now.
But what he did with that movie, he had no backing for it. He had no. It was so his story. He pushed so hard for it as an actor in front of the screen and behind the scenes that there would not have been a Black Panther without Blade.
Right.
There's a direct line of correlation between the two. So I got to give Blade his credit. But impact of what it has done and the reverberations for it is Black Panther, because Black Panther did the most important thing that it had to do, other than let people see positive black role models and all that stuff. It had to make money, and this movie made $1 billion in a month. And when the studios are well-meaning white people who are into diversity and inclusion, that's great, but that's not going to last, right? At the end of the day, it all comes down to money. And when studios say, we put a black star out there, somebody who can carry a movie, and we tell a black story, white people, look, black folks didn't put $1 billion into the movie theaters to make this movie happen. We lit the fire. We was the gasoline that went on the charcoal before Charlie Murphy, Uncle Gus came and lit the fire and blew everything up. We laid it out. Mm-hmm. Everything, once we say something's cool, everybody wants something, right? So we did that. But this thing made millions and millions, hundreds of millions in China, made it all around the world in places we are not at, right? And that is why you see Kang the Conqueror being portrayed by Jonathan Majors the way he is. And they haven't even had a chance to tell his black story yet. And they will. You're starting to see this investment in, having black characters on the screen, because they're like, wait, diversity makes money. Representation actually builds a community and builds an audience fan base. You got Falcon and the Winter Soldier telling these stories, on the small screen, because Marvel is like, yo, we got to get, we're all good people. We want to do it for community, but we got to make this money. We got to tell these stories, and that's what Black Panther did, and that's why it gets the #1 slot in my mind. So.
Hey.
Sorry, Wesley. Yeah, I'm gonna give you a free kick in the sternum when I see you in San Diego. I won't even block.
That's it, man. Just you got punched by Wesley Snipes. That's a story to tell. You know what I'm saying? That is a story to tell. All right. Well, thanks for being on, bro. I really enjoyed you. In addition to, of course, because we got people watching from the BlerdCon Instagram page, where else can they find information about yourself and information about BlerdCon?
So BlerdCon is BlerdCon everywhere. You go everywhere from TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. BlerdCon is what you would do to find our pages, our groups, everything. If you go to www.blerdcon.com, that's our website. You can get all the updated information, about the con. The 2024 convention is on July 12th through 14th at the Hyatt Regency Crystal City in Arlington, Virginia, right next to Reagan National Airport. And that'll be our seventh run, 8-year-old convention, seventh run. We have some amazing things. This year's theme is Summer Madness. So, when we do our themes, man, we really do it up. So it's going to be really exciting. But yeah, follow, that's how you support platforms like this. Don't just follow, but hit the bell icon. Follow these brothers on their social media, because they're doing the podcast, but I'm talking like I'm not sitting right here, but they're doing the podcast, but they post other stuff, articles, jokes, funny memes, content creators. There's a lot of stuff on their social media. You follow that, you hit the bell icon. That's how you support. Don't cost you no money. Might not even cost you a whole lot of time. But if you can follow your favorite rapper, if you can follow your favorite content creator, these grassroots organizations are important. These brothers are part of the community too, just as much as attendees, just as much as artists, just as much as anybody out here to make the Blerdscape what it is. So we got to make sure they succeed, because they're the ones giving us the platform to do what we do. Without them, there's no us. Without us, there's no you. It's a circle of life. So thank you guys for having me.
Thank you,
Appreciate
man.
it, man.
Beautiful. Well put.
Definitely got to have you back, man. Definitely got to have you back. Yo, thank everybody for watching. Again, if you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe to the Geek Salad YouTube, youtube.com/Geek Salad. Thanks again for being on, bro. Really enjoyed you.
Appreciate you having me, man. And I'll see y'all at the next con, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes. We'll be there.
Salad.
Okay, let me know which one y'all going to be at. I'll keep an eye out for you. We'll do something live.
All
right.
Yes, sir. No doubt. That works.
Cool. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. Y'all be safe out there. Till next time, I'm Arya the King.
Peace.